I'm a mess. Oh my God. How am I even gonna like edit this? Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, Raising Rebels. I am Alana and I am so happy that you're here. I wanted to do kind of like a Q&A today. I've had so many questions about homeschooling and our curriculum and our routine and our schedule and my fears and how I overcame them, just like all of these questions, and I thought that I would just do a whole video on them. So a big question I have gotten is, how do you get started with homeschooling your child? So this really depends on where you live. It can be different from state to state. So I can really only speak on our state, which is Pennsylvania, and the requirements for here. And you'd really have to go out and look up your specific state's requirements to get those kind of answers. So for some states, it might be identical to Pennsylvania. For other states, it might be totally different. So it really just depends on where you live. For Pennsylvania, you have to file a paper with your district that you have the intent to homeschool, and once you do that and you are homeschooling throughout the year, you do have to make a portfolio of your child's work and different things that they have learned throughout the year. And you also have to document the days that you have spent learning, and you have to hire a evaluator at the end of the year. And I know that there are a lot of evaluators out there that are not like super strict on requirements, and they kind of just like give you the thumbs up and let you be on your happy way. They understand that there are a variety of learning styles, and kind of just check that box off for you. Like, you can find those evaluators. That is like not necessarily like a huge hang up. For us, I did not want to go through any hoops whatsoever. I really wanted to make it really simple on myself, and we ended up going with a private umbrella school. So that means that we are technically enrolled in a private school, and a umbrella school basically covers all of your legal ends as a homeschooling family. So they kind of oversee that for homeschoolers, and they handle all of that like paperwork and legal stuff that you are required to do if you file the intent to homeschool with your district. So for us, all I had to do was call my district and say, hey, I'm withdrawing my child. She will not be a student here. She's enrolled at a private school. So with the umbrella school that we went with, they are actually nationwide. That was a huge plus for me. Just that you can use them in any state. I really liked that. They kind of just cover all of the bases. I really lean towards unschooling, and I'm not necessarily like a true 100% unschooler. I do like having a curriculum, and I do like having some adult-led activities, and I also like having child-led activities and following their interests and letting them play. And I feel like an unschooler in that sense, and on the other side, I feel like I do really like curriculum as well. So I'm kind of like in a gray area there. And the umbrella school we went with, it's called Bridge Academy, and they just had a lot of the same philosophies. They were very child-led learning. They believed in play and art, and that just really resonated so well with me and so well with my daughter. And I feel like when I talk about homeschooling, I focus on my oldest because she is in second grade, and my younger two boys are 4 and 1. So I'm not necessarily concerned about their homeschooling just yet. They are still really young, and at those ages, seriously, all they need to do is play. I'm like not kidding. They just need to play. So when I talk about the homeschooling, I am more focused on Finley and her education because she is 7, and not that she won't learn through play, because she definitely will. But for her, I know that she likes having activities and she likes having some adult-led activities, and that's probably because she did a year of public school, and so like that's what she's used to. So getting back to the curriculum that we use, in 2020 I did use a curriculum called Blossom and Root. It was very nature-based and like super crunchy, and I really wanted to love it, and it just didn't align with Finley's learning style or my teaching style. And so there was a lot of like forcing things to happen, and it wasn't really like organic for us. And I tried really hard to make it work. And I had like a lot of issues, like butting heads with my 5-year-old at the time. And so I knew that the curriculum was going to be something that was like an extra for us. It was not going to be like the meat and potatoes of our homeschooling, because I did not want to get like seriously attached to another curriculum and find myself in that same situation where I am like forcing things to happen. So now 2 years later, I have found this private umbrella school, so like check there for me, that I don't have to do any of that legal paperwork. And they had a lot of the same philosophies that I now had as a homeschooling mom, with like kind of more hands off. And so like another big check for me. And the curriculum was really like craft based, and that is Finley's favorite thing. So I knew that if the learning was being presented through art and play, that she was more likely to latch onto it and become engaged, and I was completely right. She is more engaged in the learning already. We're just like 3 weeks into our homeschooling year, and we are already like doing so much better than we were in 2020. And like hindsight, it was our first year and COVID had happened and we were kind of like thrown into it. Whereas this year I have literally taken a full year of research and like praying on it and talking to my network and my husband and our daughter and like coming to terms with this as a family. So I am in a different space than I was in 2020. So like that does play a part, but just with the curriculum itself, we're having so much more success because it aligns more with like her learning style and my teaching style. And that's what I love about homeschooling, is it's truly tailored to your child and to yourself, because like as the parent, like you're also really important in this equation, finding things that work for you as well. And I love that about homeschooling, because it's completely up to you. You don't have to follow a curriculum just because you bought it. Like, I know that's really hard when you buy something and you spend money and you're like, you know, putting all this work and time and energy and money into it. And then it's like, oh, this doesn't work for anyone. It's okay. Like, that's part of learning. It's part of the experience of homeschooling, is like cutting those losses sometimes. And also a huge learning experience, like you don't need to spend a bunch of money to homeschool. Like seriously, you do not. Go to the Dollar Tree for your supplies. Like that's okay. All the time I see on social media like really, really cute decorations and really cute schoolrooms and like these like watercolor flashcards, and like it's, you know, these adorable nature prints, and you don't have to have that. That's okay. Like, another reason why we went with this curriculum is she had a yearly calendar of morning invitations. So Morning invitations is like a quick, small little activity that you have out in the morning, and it basically invites your child into the learning space. And I loved this because I was already doing this, and I was calling it morning surprises, and I was kind of just like throwing some stuff together the night before and leaving it on our kitchen table and like letting the kids be surprised by it in the morning. And so when I found this curriculum, I was like, oh my gosh, like she has a whole year's worth of these morning invitations, which is like literally what I'm doing. And it just gives me all of the ideas. It was like huge green flag for me that I was where I was supposed to be, and like total reassurance that this curriculum really aligned with who I was as a person and also who Finley was as a person, because they love the morning invitations. Like seriously, I will never stop doing them. They love them so much, and they are so easy and simple for me to do the night before. Like they literally take 10 minutes. Most of the time I have all of the supplies on hand. Sometimes there's certain things that like I don't have. Like I know for fall, some of the morning invitations involve like pumpkins and stuff, but you could easily look at that ahead of time and be like, okay, I'm going to add a pumpkin to my grocery pickup this week. So I have that for the morning invitation. And they just love it. It's so easy. It's so simple. And they feel really special when I do it. I'm not even kidding. They appreciate the fact that after they went to bed, I took some time and set this up for them. It sounds really small and might not be something that you think about like that, but I have noticed that when my kids have a morning invitation from me, we are like instantly connected in the morning because they feel like they are being thought about, and that means something to them. You know, they are children, and so we don't think about like acts of service as much as being a love language for them, because everything we do as parents is an act of service, okay? Like bottom line. But something like this, and when you step back and you just look at your child as like another human being, appreciating like these acts of service that you're doing by providing them with these morning invitations, like it truly brings connection first thing in the morning. And I've also noticed that we are very slow movers in the morning, okay? We're up early, but we take a long time to get going. So like we might be up at 7, but like we're not dressed and ready for the day till like 8:30. And I've noticed with these morning invitations, my kids are instantly engaged for the day. Like the TV is not even thought about. Normally they come downstairs, they want to sit on the couch and like watch some TV, and with these morning invitations, like the TV's not turned on until way, way later in the day. And so this kind of leads me into our schedule and routine as a homeschooling family. And I'm gonna be honest, like I don't have one. I do not believe in like Monday through Friday. I don't even believe like a certain chunk of time throughout the day when we're designating homeschooling. And this is kind of where I fall into the unschooling category. I just don't really believe in having a schedule or routine. The one thing I do is the morning invitations. I do have those out probably like 5 days out of the week. Sometimes like I just know that we have a lot going on that day. Like if we have a field trip planned, I don't always do a morning invitation because they do take up a lot of time, and sometimes I don't have that time in the mornings. If I know that like, oh, we have a field trip and grocery pickup and then we got to stop by here and do this, like our day is full and I don't necessarily feel the need to add to it with the morning invitations. And yeah, I don't have a schedule. I'm sorry. I don't have like tips and tricks on how to have a successful homeschooling schedule. I don't have one. You know, we have a routine throughout the day, but that has not changed just because we're homeschooling. You know, we wake up, we have our morning invitation, we have breakfast, we have a lot of free play. We have lunch, the baby has a nap, we go outside, we have more free play. We come in, we have a snack, we go for a walk. It has a lot of play. I'm gonna be honest. My kids just play a lot. And I do have lesson plans that I set up for with the morning invitation. And that's usually something that maybe we'll do at nap time or maybe immediately after morning invitation. It kind of just depends on everybody's mood, everybody's disposition for the day. If the baby is super cranky, I might not do a lesson plan until nap time, or if he's like really like chilling good with them, like maybe we'll just keep rolling after the morning invitation. It kind of just depends, and so it does change from day to day. We just kind of roll with it. I'm gonna be honest, guys, we really just kind of roll with the punches over here. I also got a lot of questions as to why we decided to homeschool, and it was not a decision that we made based off of one factor, and it was not a decision that we made lightly either. We started homeschooling in 2020 when our oldest was going into kindergarten, and that decision was kind of based off of COVID. I really didn't want her sitting in front of a TV or a computer all day. I thought that the new dynamic of learning just wasn't it. I just didn't like it. I knew she wasn't going to thrive like that, and so we decided to homeschool. And so that being said, it was always something that I had always thought about as a parent, and it was something that I never felt like I could do without some kind of reason. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. It just feels like such a big decision to make for your child, and I felt like I needed a reason to keep her home in order to say, oh, we're going to homeschool, instead of just saying, this is what feels right for me as a mom, and this should be our family's path. Like, I didn't have that in me at the time in 2020. I just felt like we should do this because of COVID, and it's so crazy, and like I don't know what the future looks like for our children's education. And when we made the decision, it felt so right in my soul to homeschool, and it was just a really hard year. COVID has shut everything down. We weren't doing any story time or field trips or seeing other children. It was really isolating. I didn't have any kind of homeschooling network, and I gave up. I got pregnant with our third baby, and I was really tired and didn't feel good, and I felt like I am just failing her and she should go back to public school. And so that's what we did this last year. She went back to public school for first grade, and it just never felt right. I just felt like it was the right thing when we were homeschooling, and I just let the challenges of it like get the best of me and like threw in the towel too soon. On top of a particularly crazy year in general with COVID. So we spent the whole year that she was in public school talking about homeschooling again and praying on it, and I did a lot of research. I read a lot of books. I talked to a lot of other homeschooling moms, and I started figuring out what I could do to make it different, to make it successful for us. And I began talking to Finley about it, like kind of planting that seed, like what if we homeschool next year for second grade, how would you feel? And it wouldn't be like this, and we would, make these changes that would make it different from kindergarten. And she began to get on board, and I began to feel like we are moving in the right direction. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we ended up here with the decision to homeschool. It was a really long process for us to come to this decision, and there were a lot of reasons. I felt so tripped up with anxiety and worry every day that she was in school. I mean, it felt like every other week there was a school shooting, and I truly could not handle that kind of worry. you know, I can actually see the elementary school from our like front door, and I would just feel like, how do I know she's safe? I can literally see the school, and like, how do I get past this feeling of anxiety? Like, she doesn't feel safe there to me, you know? I remember she came home, there was a school shooting like that was on the news the night before, and she came home from school the next day talking about it and how they did a shooter drill, and just something inside of me felt so sad that this was her reality, that she was practicing how to hide for her life at school. I could like cry right now. It just didn't feel right. Like, I didn't want that for her. So that was a big reason. And another reason was I just didn't feel like they were teaching things that would carry into adulthood. You know, they don't teach a lot of life skills in school. A lot of the stuff that I learned in school, I don't remember. They weren't like necessary for me as an adult. And a lot of the things I needed to learn as an adult, like I taught myself as an adult. So I just didn't really believe with what they were teaching, how they were teaching it, how they were, you know, doing testing for things. And, you know, I felt like it killed their critical thinking skills. Like, there's only one right answer instead of like multiple right answers. And, you know, if you work a traditional job, like, when you're brainstorming a solution, all the different people come with their different backgrounds and their different opinions, and all that stuff matters. And when you're in school, it's just like, no, A is right, like B is right. It kind of like kills that critical thinking process of there being more than like one right answer. I also really wanted my children to be able to follow their interests and, you know, find things that they really cared about, and giving them space to follow that. You know, I read this thing one time somewhere on social media, like, if your kid is struggling in math but succeeding in tennis, most would hire a math tutor, and I say hire a tennis coach. And it was like mind-blowing. Like, why aren't we running with their interests and their natural talents? Why aren't we like picking them up in that and like letting them succeed instead of focusing on something that maybe they're not doing so good in, and almost like a punishment, like, we're going to hire you a tutor because you're not doing good. It was just one of those light bulb moments for me where I felt like I want something so different for them and their education. And I also wanted the freedom to be together as a family. I wanted the freedom to, you know, go on a field trip on a Tuesday afternoon because my husband's home from work and we can do that, or pick up and go on vacation in the middle of the school year because that's what works for our schedule, and not have to, you know, let the school know and, oh, is she missing too many days or whatever. Like, it was a compact decision with all these different factors into it. And you know, when I made the decision, like, okay, like, I am ready, I am confident, I'm doing it. I'm going to go full force. And, you know, my husband was supportive. My daughter was on board. It truly like lifted this weight off my shoulders. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be in life, and I still feel that way. Like, this is our family's purpose to homeschool. It truly is. I truly feel that. And so when I have those fears arise, like, oh, am I not doing enough? Like, am I too hands off? You know, you see on social media all these different styles of homeschooling where there are moms with big binders and lots of worksheets, and I am not that mom. So I see things like that and I think, am I not doing enough? You know, should I be doing more? are my children learning? Are they happy? Do they enjoy this? Are they missing out? Am I going to, ruin their education? Or are they going to grow up and not know how to make friends? All of these doubts and fears that we have when we make the decision to homeschool. And I feel like every homeschool family that has made this decision has these thoughts. How am I going to mentally get through not having breaks from my children like I did when they were in public school? Like, these are all valid thoughts. And truly, I have come to measure success differently. So, our success might not look like somebody else's. For example, this morning we're doing a morning invitation, and I'm still in my pajamas. My kids are still in their pajamas. We're using our dollar store, supplies. And I had this moment where I thought, like, okay, it's not Instagram worthy, whatever we're doing. Like, I know that's a thing as well, like making things look a certain way for social media. And I thought, man, am I like good enough? Am I doing enough? And out of nowhere, my oldest goes, when I'm a grown up, I thought, okay, here we go. Well, okay, what are you going to do differently when you're a grown up? That's usually how it goes. When I'm a grown up, I'm going to let myself eat candy for breakfast, that kind of stuff. And she said, when I'm a grown up and I'm homeschooling my kids, I'm going to have XYZ. And I thought, there's the success. Right there. It's right there. I'm so emotional today. I don't know why. But like, there's the success that she wants to homeschool her own kids because that's what feels so right to her too. I am like a mess, okay? Hold on. I think I'm so emotional because it's such a meaningful thing for me that I'm homeschooling my babies, and that I have like been instilled with this confidence that I didn't have in 2020. I'm a mess. Oh my God. How am I even gonna like edit this? You know what? I'm not going to, because I'm using a freaking shop rag down at my husband's desk. The reason I started this channel was because I wanted to share motherhood unfiltered. I want to help other moms that have been me, that have walked the path that I'm walking. And I want to share like how to get through the path, because the path is not an easy one when you're a mom. And it's just so important to me. Oh my gosh. And when it comes to homeschooling, it is like a huge part of my heart. It seriously is. It's a huge part of who I am. And it's not something that I realized until I started doing it, how important this topic was going to be to me. And I feel like I like come with like some imposter syndrome. Like, I'm only on year 2 of homeschooling. Who am I to make a YouTube channel and like share my thoughts out there? And I think about myself 2 years ago and how I wish that I would have had somebody share with me the things that I'm sharing. Like, I just want to be that for like one person. And honestly, sometimes that person's just going to be me. And I'm okay with that. Like, I am okay if sometimes my sharing my experience only helps me. Like, that's okay. I've learned that over the years, that sometimes sharing truly is just for me. And if it helps somebody else, like, I feel so fulfilled. So I don't really know where I was going with this. This is not the way I saw today's video going at all, I thought I have some extra time today. I'm going to like do my hair and put some mascara on and like do a Q&A from like some questions that I've had on like TikTok and YouTube, and I like word vomited. I'm like crying. I don't know. And truly, it's okay. Like, this is what I wanted to put out into the world, like my true authentic thoughts and self. And, you know, if it resonates with you, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If it doesn't, like, that's okay. I'm not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. So, I don't know. I'm beginning to ramble because I'm emotional now. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have more homeschooling questions, let me know in the comments below. I am so grateful for the people that are here and watching and subscribing. I truly am so grateful. It means so much to me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.